Welcome to Mount Panorama. It might be the most difficult track in GT Sport. The goal of this series is to go beyond the driving line and explore techniques that will help you become a more effective race car driver. I will be driving a tuned BMW M3 with tuning similar to what you would find in an amateur racing series or at a track day. The full tuning specifications will be available at the end of the video. This lap will not be perfect, especially since I'm using a controller instead of a wheel, but the mistakes that I made in this lap provide a good educational opportunity, so I'm just gonna commentate on how it is. Turn 1 on Mount Panorama is very similar to the turns that we would see at Laguna Seca, but the road is much narrower, which makes it more difficult. Let's take a look at this again in slow motion to see exactly what went wrong, because we're a little bit off of the apex. I am using the light post on the right hand side as a braking point. I turn in, and then when I apply the maintenance throttle, I have already conceded the apex and I'm already focusing on the straightaway to maximize my straight line speed. I haven't reviewed the rest of the lap yet, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to come up again. I actually like to leave a little bit of space between me and the curb in turn 2. It doesn't hurt your lap time very much, and it also prevents cars from passing you on the outside. My execution on turn 2 was very smooth, and I don't think we need to review it again. So I'm gonna go ahead to the next corner. This complex of 3 corners is very difficult, and there's a lot to discuss. So let's look at it again in slow motion. The tap of the brake loads up the front wheels, and the car starts to oversteer. To correct it, I tap the throttle so that the car understeers and I get it back under control. As soon as I get it back under control, I have to slam on the brakes again for the slowest of the 3 corners. If you go all the way to the inside, you might get a little loose because the car will bottom out on the hill. So if you go a little bit wide, it's actually a lot safer and a lot more consistent. As long as you get the speed out of the corner, it's fine. The last of the 3 corners is very simple. You just take it flat out and make sure that you're on the left hand side of the track and getting ready for the next corner. One more time. When I was reviewing the footage, I noticed this tap, and I'm not really sure what it's for. So I opened a different video from a different lap, and I think it's because I typically brake too much. I don't know. What do you think? You gotta thread the needle between turns 6 and 7. Some cars this is flat out. I lifted slightly but not all the way. Use lift-off oversteer to get the best entry into turn number 9. Turn 10 is really difficult. Just slow down and try to survive into the next corner. It's very easy to crash here. Let's take one last break with the external camera before continuing to the next 8 corners. They are some of the most difficult turns in the world. So why are these corners so difficult? I am going to go one by one, pausing at every critical moment. And I am going to examine why it is difficult. The obvious reason why turn 11 is difficult is because you can't see it. Use the Audi sign as a reference to help brake the correct amount each lap. If you do your braking correctly on turn 11, then turn 12 is a piece of cake. All you have to do is maintain your speed and stay to the left side of the track. As soon as you get the car straightened out, hit the brakes and slow down as much as you can. It's better to do this corner slow in and fast out than fast in and slow out, because you don't have to brake for the next 3 corners, except for maybe a small tap just to get the car to rotate in turn 14. The apex of turn 14 is nicely indicated by the grass. Driving through the grass is the fastest way around the corner. You might be able to take turn 17 flat out, but if you do, you will crash in turn 18 because it's downhill and it takes a lot of energy to slow the car down. Turn 17 has a dip and then a crest, creating this weird up and down motion that changes the amount of grip that you have. There's a lot of brakes into turn 18. Just stay on the brakes and stay off the wall. Now that you are familiar with the mountains of Mount Panorama, let's take another look with some traffic and see if we can find any important distinctions. This is a good place to pass if you're racing against a different class or an AI opponent. It always amazes me how terrible the AI is in GT Sport. Turn 18 is also a really good place to pass if you notice that they're carrying a little bit too much speed into the corner. I don't recommend passing in between turns 4 and 18 though, because it's just too much of a risk. There's not a lot of space, it's really easy to crash, and even if you're able to pass successfully, you're still going to lose a lot of time by racing side by side and messing up each other's apexes. The chase isn't a very difficult part of the track, but I always mess it up because I try too hard. All you really have to do is floor it through turn 20, keep it straight, keep it off the grass, brake as soon as it's straightened out, turn into 21, and then floor it back out of 22 and stay on it all the way until you're ready to brake for the last corner of the track. Okay, let's just try that one more time. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit more difficult than I give it credit for. Coming into the final turn of Mount Panorama, I like to use the curb for pit-in on the left-hand side as a braking point. And as I brake a little bit too late here, I missed the apex again, just like I did at turn 1. And instead of trying to slow down to hit the apex, I start speeding up so that I can optimize my straight line speed to the start-finish line. Just like what we did on the first turn. Mount Panorama is easily one of the most difficult circuits in the world, if not the most difficult. To find out if it is the most difficult track in the world, we will have to compare more circuits that are of the same caliber at a later time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Here is my tuning if you want to try to replicate my setup in Gran Turismo Sport. Good luck, have fun, get faster. What track should I do next? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.